Fire away.
Well, Coach, what was the overall view of the game after looking at film, and what did you see that you didn't know before?
Well, we got better from week 1 to week 2. That's the goal. That's what you do. You want to get better from week 1 to week 2. Made some progress. Guys played hard. Played well. I thought we started off slow, but then we got it in gear. That's the thing that we have to do. We have to play fast. We got to start fast and finish strong. So I said that to the team yesterday, that we have to do that. But saw some good things defensively. The guys are still flying around and playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of guys are playing. It's the type of defense that you want to see your guys play. Guys swarming, guys flying to the ball. A lot of guys playing. When that happens, you give yourselves a great chance of increasing your chances of winning. And they did a really good job of flying around. And got one big play. I told them I was sick to my stomach on that because that's just how I am on the defensive guy. But other than that, when you look at what they did statistically, regardless of whom you're playing, those stats are astounding on any level.
Coach, I'm sure, even though you haven't had any practices, I'm sure the offensive staff talked a lot about the quarterback position. What kind of conversations did y'all have about moving forward, and how y'all are going to look at it this week?
Basically, we're going to start off with T-Set, and he's going to start off. He finished the game, and he's going to start off. He has an opportunity. We're going to do what we feel is best to win ball games. Now, we're saying that no one will play or won't play. No one will absolutely play, and by no means is this an indictment of him or any of that. And we're not done with him because we're going to need him at some point in time this season. So it's a competitive sport. Everybody competes, and guys next man up. And so he has an opportunity. We're going to give T-Set an opportunity to go out there and see what he does, and we're going to go from there.
How is this storm kind of affecting you guys' preparation, and how are you adjusting to that?
It's not really affecting our preparation. We're going to practice today. We look to practice tomorrow. We just got to wait and see this evening and tonight, how the weather moves, and then we'll be able to make a decision. If it's bad tonight going into the morning, probably, if we're able to, we'll go indoors. And you still get stuff done. Did it as a player, done it as a coach. The work is still the work. I played for Coach Richardson. We went full gear indoors in a gym, and got, we did it at other schools. We've done it here, so it's not like it's new. It's just all about the mindset and still execute what we'll do, and then we'll get back out. Hopefully it'll be through on Thursday. Then we'll be able to get back out on Thursday if we're not able to get out tomorrow.
How much improvement, if any, did you see from the run game last week?
Saw a lot of improvement. You're talking about 191 yards rushing. These guys ran hard. This running back committed, which is always good. Kobe ran well. CJ ran well, extremely well. Kendrick ran well, and even the young guys got in and got a little burned. But anytime you can move the football and you can run the football like that, that's always good. And to see those guys, the only thing that we got to do now is get past the century mark. And we talked about that, and I teased those guys a little bit yesterday, the running backs, about getting past the century mark. But the guys, it was good to see those guys have those types of games.
How are you preparing your defense for Jackson State's quarterback situation?
Like we would any athletic quarterback, guys, we're not going to do anything special. We got rules and responsibilities that we have to do, and guys are going to ensure that the coaching staff will prepare those guys to make sure they pay attention to their keys and what they have to do, and they're going to go out and execute. They have two good athletic quarterbacks, just like we got good athletic quarterbacks. So, we see them every day. Those guys, we can't get to a point where we try to make every play. Everybody just has to do their job and do it well, and if they do that, then I like our chances.
Coach, you've been around this rivalry for quite some time. I guess what is it that makes it one of the best in college football?
I'm sorry, I said it again.
I said, well, this rivalry, I mean, the fact that you've been around it for a long time, I guess what is it about the Boombox Classic that makes it one of the best in college football?
Well, outside of the Bayou Classic, it is probably, you're right, it's one of the biggest rivalries in college football because of, number one, the fans, the way that they travel and tailgate, and the way that they talk trash and despise one another. That always makes a classic. And then the players on the field, a lot of those guys either played together, played against one another, wanted to play at one of the other schools. That's some of it. So it's a lot of different factors, but it makes it great because it's a hard football game. It's usually physical. It's a lot of action. The atmosphere is electric. So it all comes together when you're talking about that class.
In relation to the running game especially, how much better was your offensive line?
I thought they played a lot. They played well. They got tired at some point in time and had a few lapses, but for the most part, I thought they played well.
Did you play 10 guys?
We played probably, I think 9 or 10 guys, somewhere around there. But again, it's a weekly thing. Those guys have to, the more that they play together, the better they get, the more they trust one another, and the more they gel. I think that the offensive line is probably the most difficult position of all the positions on the field, that it takes everybody to be on the same page in order for them to really be good. And you see that on all levels. And if those guys are not in sync together, then it's a breakdown. But the more that they play, the more they get reps, the more that they see it in games, the better they get.
What did you like most about what you saw T-Set do?
I like the way he executed the offense. He's a gunslinger. He's an athlete. He's going to play with a lot of confidence. So he's a redshirt freshman. So he's going to go out there and throw caution to the wind. Is that always good? No, but it's not always bad either. So for him to get out there, basically, as I said yesterday, he was a point guard in high school, so he kind of knows what it takes to get the lead and the command of a unit. And just his attitude, nothing really shakes him. He's always the same. You can scream at him, he's gonna stay the same. You can talk to him, he's gonna stay the same. He's even keeled, and I think that helps him a lot.
How much was it of a recruiting battle was it to get him here? I mean, did y'all really have to fight for him?
I did a lot of fighting for him because he's left-handed, and I'm left-handed. So, there's a big bias towards left-handed quarterbacks, and that's all over the country. Very few coaches, like the offensive coordinators, they don't really care for left-handed quarterbacks because they say then you got to flip everything. And then I started going down the list of all the great left-handed quarterbacks in the history of college and pro football, and then it kind of So I tell them, I said, well, I fight for left-handed quarterbacks, and so I appreciated the coach, listened to me a little bit. But it was, he had people on him, and but I think the thing is that he wanted to be here, and he came around, and he knew that we wanted him, and he wanted us, so it was a great match.
Last year against Jackson State, they ran for about 270 yards in that game. As a defensive guy, how personal did y'all take that?
You take that very personal. Anytime you have a team that runs over 100 yards, that's personal. Because defensively, you don't want a 100-yard rusher. And so for them to have that many yards, that wasn't good. But I'm sure that Coach Miller and staff, they talking about that. And this team, these guys, they understand that, and those guys are not really looking at last year, what they did. It's more about who's there now and what we have to do Saturday.
I guess after seeing your defense play for the first 2 games, how much confidence do you have in them to kind of hold things down like they have been against Jackson State's offense?
I'm very confident. Coach Miller always talks about strength in numbers, and we do have strength in numbers. I'm satisfied. I'm not totally satisfied, but I'm satisfied enough to feel good about what we're doing defensively and schematically and the number of guys that we're playing, and it's a family affair. You know, everybody eats. You know, guys play. We've gotten to a point where on all three levels where we feel good about the guys that are in, that's rotated, and those guys are going out and they're making plays, and those guys that produce, they play more. And that's just how it always is, and it should be that way. It's, you know, I always take what Coach Richardson used to always tell us, it's about production and results. So when guys produce, you know, they're going to get the results of playing well.
I guess what was the momentum change in special teams between the first week and last week having such a great, this past week and having such a great outing?
Just paying attention to detail, focusing and doing what they did naturally. I mean, I may have had something to do with that, some of the things I said in practice. Got to, you know, had to give them a little attitude adjustment. But overall, you know, when you get those guys moved in, specialists are different. They're different. They're all together different. I guess that's why they call them specialists. But those guys are different. And so you got to know the temperature. You got to know how to talk to them. You got to know how to relate to them. You got to know when to really tighten up, and then you got to know when to pull back. And when you do that, you understand that, you get the best out of them. And for Josh to, you know, to kick the way that he kicked Saturday night, it shows you, it gives you all the confidence in the world that, you know, he's grooved back in, and he maybe needed something like that the first week to kind of get him grooved back in. We had conversations as well as his practice, and so and Kenny as well. So those guys understand. Coach Starr's doing a really good job of keeping those guys even killed.
What's the scouting report on Jackson State? I know you talked a little bit about they've got a couple of explosive quarterbacks. What else do you see from them offensively?
They have some good players. They got a good running back. They got good wide receivers. I mean, TC does a good job with what they're doing offensively. And him being a former quarterback / wide receiver, he's definitely going to get the guys that he needs to do what he wants to do. They want to stretch the field. They want to run the football. He's not all pass happy. He also wants to run the football. And so we just got to do a good job of making sure that offensive line is not bad at all either. You know, they have some size up there. They have some pretty good athletes up there. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting to see how this thing shakes down.
And defensively, what do they show?
Oh, they play a lot of bear. 5-man front. They're gonna bring pressure. Gonna play man coverage. They try to do a little zone blitzing every once in a while into the boundary. But they really try to get more numbers on you, more you know, pressure than you can block. And they get after. They got some good athletes over there. Defensive line, they got some guys up front that can create some problems. Some good linebackers, good on the back end. I think Six is a preseason All-American and All-Conference guy. So they got some guys. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch these guys match up, get out there.
Is it a strange feeling that you're playing a conference opponent, but it's going down as a non-conference game?
No, because this is not the first time this has happened. You know, like I said, I've been in the conference 30 years, so you know, that's happened a number of times. I can remember when we would play Jackson 1 week, and it would count up against us, and they play Grambling the next week, and it'd be non-conference. So this is not new. We played other schools in the conference. That it was a conference game, it's non-conference. It's not really strange. It's and then a lot of times it's a good thing because you can play the teams in your conference when they rotate off. Now it's in the overall record. It doesn't hurt you in terms of your trying to compete for the division and go to the championship. You know, it doesn't bother me at all. I actually like it. I like being able to play teams in the conference even when they roll off. Rather than having to try to go and find an opponent from, you know, somewhere way out west, somewhere out east, and what have you. So it's not strange at all. It's Southern and Jackson State, so whether it counts or don't count, it counts.
What makes it so hard to play at Jackson State? What about that environment makes things a little tough?
Atmosphere. I mean, playing at the vet, they're gonna have their people there. Our people will be there. You know, it's like anywhere. It's just like it's hard to play here a month if you're a visitor. And I've had the opportunity to coach here on both sides and stuff. So when you get up there, you know, those guys are going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to go. The atmosphere is going to be electric. And the thing is, you got to stave off that first 7 to 10 minutes of the ball game. If you can do that, then it kind of levels off. But the big thing is we got to go out and we got to be ready to go from start to finish. If we can do that, then it makes it easy. Because I remember times here in the past where we've gone there and both teams have been undefeated and we've shut them out there. So I don't. It's not for me. I love playing there. I love being there. I mean, I get fired up just thinking about it. I even listen to Get Ready. I listen to Get Ready on YouTube. So I love it. I'm a player for the guys and everything. So I mean, I love it. I love it. If you're a competitor, that's the kind of atmosphere you want to play in.
I guess with this being such an intense rivalry, how much are you stressing the discipline aspect of your team this week?
No more than usual. Discipline is something that I believe in, and it has nothing to do with the opponent. It's about a way to live, it's a way of life, and if we can be disciplined in everything that we do, then we're winning. And that's the thing that I stress upon them. It's every day what we do. When we hit the floor, when our feet hit the floor, we got to dominate that day, and we got to be disciplined to do those things that we need to do. So it has nothing to do with the opponent. Discipline yourselves and do the things you have to do. You just increase your chances of being successful.
You and a few players were on the team back in 2022 when Jackson State beat you guys in the SWAC championship. You guys using that as bulletin board material, extra motivation, or is that just in the past?
No, that's in the past. I'd say all the time, we live in the precious present. So what happened in 22, that was 22. We gotta get ready to take care of that today, this weekend. So there's no bulletin board material needed. It's Southern and Jackson State. So if that alone doesn't get you fired up, then you shouldn't be playing in this game.
Coach, how does preparing for an opponent that you're more familiar with in Jackson State, a team that of course you play every year as a rivalry, how does that differ from the first 2 weeks when you're playing opponents that you've been on the staff playing against in the past, but you don't play as often, the team maybe isn't as familiar with naturally?
It's not a whole lot of difference. Preparation is based on what you see and what you go in with the game plan. I mean, you're going to watch film and you're going to prepare and you're going to go in with a game plan. I say it all the time. The biggest thing that you have to be able to do is make in-game adjustments. You're going to always have a game plan. You're going to always go in with tendencies, what to do, what not to do, what they do, what they don't do. Whether you play them, once every 10 years, or if you play them every year, they're going to have tendencies. But then, what you have to do as a coach, you have to be able to make those in-game adjustments because, there's times, and as a coordinator myself, there was times where I would go in a game plan with the whole call sheet and everything. And everything I called, you would think that they were on the headsets as well because they counted everything. So then what you have to do, you have to take that game plan, ball it up and throw it in the trash, and now you have to start calling stuff, throwing something against the wall, hoping it sticks. And so if you're able to do that, then you help yourselves out and you help the players out when you do that kind of thing. So it's playing them every year, it's a rivalry game. So,
Right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
All right, go Jags.